Antonio Pierce just spoke to the media and gave us some good news on Brock Bowers, which I'm going to be talking about here today. Quite frankly, a lot of the things that AP just discussed on Darnay Holmes had some good things to say about Tre Tucker. I'm going to be breaking all of that stuff down here on the Raiders Report. On top of that, if you didn't see the video that I put out earlier today, the Las Vegas Raiders added another player to their practice squad. His name is Justin Shorter. He was a wide receiver in college where he played at Penn State, did also play at Florida, was a player that was drafted also in the 5th round, I want to say 150 overall by the Buffalo Bills last season. They converted him to tight end. They're going to put him in number 88, and he's going to be on the practice squad, which means the Las Vegas Raiders still have 2 open spots. I'm curious to see if they try to bring back Byron Young and MJ Devonshire there. If you want to stay up to date on all things going on around the Las Vegas Raiders, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you got those notifications turned on. Also, Jeremy Chuggs and I, we're going to be live later on tonight for Colorado up against North Dakota State. We always get questions about Shedeur Sanders. Well, let's watch them together. We're going to be going live at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 hour before kickoff. Make sure you're here. Make sure we're rocking. Make sure you bring your drinking pants. We're going to have ourselves a good time. All right, so Antonio Pierce was asked early on about Brock Bowers, about whether or not he's going to be able to play week 1. Obviously, he has been missing some time with a minor foot injury, and AP said that he's, first off, when he talked about injuries, he said that we're about as healthy as you can be going into week 1. I hear that, and it makes me calm down a little bit about Colt Miller. It makes me calm down a little bit about Jackson Powers-Johnson, who we'll talk about here in a second. But, yeah, the first person I thought of instantly was Brock Bowers. And he said, yeah, I feel really good about that, to be honest. I was just talking about how they're being cautious right now with Bowers. And when you listen to AP talk about the availability of our star young tight end from Georgia, it sounds like he's going to be good to go week 1, which I know was an injury that maybe we weren't talking about all that much, but I was definitely nervous about it because we know that we're going to use him a lot in the 12 personnel. He's going to be a big part of this team, and he's a really special player from top to bottom. But I do think he's going to be out there week 1. Sounds like AP believes it, and they're really just being kind of cautious. But let's go back to him, AP again, saying we're about as healthy as you can be going into week 1. For me personally, that's my number one concern right now for the Raiders is, are we going to be healthy on that offensive line? All reports are that Colt Miller has done a good job since returning. He did a really solid job yesterday against Max Crosby. And if you can block Max, you're probably going to be in a good spot. JPJ's been the other injury concern where he's got 4 practice days to get ready. AP was asked, hey, is he going to be ready to go? Is he going to be going out there? And I would love to be able to see him start at left guard. That's where I want him out there over Cody Whitehair. But Pierce is he's got to get in game shape. I just hope that, we put the best offensive line out there as possible. But when fully healthy, Jackson Powers-Johnson's a powerful player, and I just hope that we really get to see that sooner rather than later. But the good news, the reason why you probably clicked into this is because it does sound like Brock Bowers is going to be ready to rock and roll, and he's going to be able to play. The other good news that I heard about this was Darnay Holmes. So yesterday, the Las Vegas Raiders, they added Holmes, who was a player that, we talked about due to his connections with Patrick Graham. And I'm going to be honest, I didn't even know this. So AP said that he's known Holmes since he was 13 years old, and that he knows his family well, and that, he's just, known him growing up. I believe the exact thing was, he's from Pasadena, California, and was in high school when Pierce was the head coach at Long Beach Poly. Lots of familiarity there. Holmes is Nate Hobbs' backup at the nickel, and he can also play a little bit on the outside. I think I said it yesterday when the Raiders decided to add Holmes, is he kind of reminds me of the Nate Hobbs situation where the Giants tried to kick him onto the outside because he did well in the slot. A player that maybe they didn't expect as much from going into the season. Same exact for Hobbs. He was a late round pick, and then proved that, all right, Hobbs is just better in the slot. Same exact thing there for Holmes. But the reason why I think that this is good news is because, Holmes was a player that we talked about being a depth player. Somebody who's your 5th, your 6th corner. Call me crazy. I'm always going to bet on AP. I'm always going to bet on Patrick Graham. And the fact that both of those guys have the relationship they do with Darnay Holmes, I don't know if we're going to get another Jack Jones situation. I don't think Holmes has that type of juice like Jack does from an athletic standpoint. But call me crazy for saying a player that the New England Patriots gave up on in Jack Jones, and now I think he's one of the better cornerback 2s in the National Football League. Well, call me crazy for having that exact same hope and that exact same belief in Darnay Holmes. And if you can add another player that is a big AP guy, I think it's only going to build this team and it's only going to build that cornerback room. So that was two big things where I was like, I came away and listened to AP and I was like, good news on Holmes, good news on Brock Bowers, and also I got some good news coming up here on Tre Tucker. Before I do that, Chuggs and I are going to be in North Carolina for week 1 for the watch party. If you're not going to be out at SoFi at that Raiders game, make sure you pull up to Cary, North Carolina. It's also really close to Durham, North Carolina. There's going to be prizes. There's a special guest. I can't tell you who it is. Some Raiders super fans on top of that. If you want to go, the link is chatsports.com/week1. That link is going to be available to y'all down in the comments of today's show. So it's chatsports.com/week1. If you're a golfer, we're also going to be doing a Topgolf event, which 20 people are going to be able to go to that. The Topgolf event, you do have to pay for a raffle ticket. The week 1 event is 100% free to go to, so just something to keep in mind there. But if you want to come hang out with Chuggs and I, September 7th, September 8th, if you're going to be on the East Coast, chatsports.com/week1 is for the watch party. Chatsports.com/Topgolf is for the event there at Topgolf. All right. Then Antonio Pierce was asked, all right, well, who's a player that you think's just really going to light it up this season that's going to surprise a lot of people? And yet again, he said Tre Tucker. Talked about his explosiveness, talked about how he's a better athlete, and just seeing he's getting better and better. And, we saw Tre in preseason. Dude looked really good, had the LASIK, so that he's being able to see the football a little bit better, which you love. But he said again, Tre Tucker is that player. More and more good news there around Tre Tucker. Then he goes talking about, he early on was talking about Amari Gainer and how he's just very impressed by the fact that he shows up and comes to work every day. Based on what he said about Tyreik McAllister, does sound like he's going to be just working on kick and punt returns, which doesn't really surprise me. He's going to get some work also as a receiver. I think they're going to use Tyreik McAllister the way that they're also going to use Tre Tucker, where going to be the backup player. The role they use Tre could be the role that they use Tyreek due to the speed. AP said that he liked Jonah Laulu, who was one of the players that the Raiders signed after their 53-man roster. He was a defensive tackle, was a 7th-round pick from Indianapolis. Said that, the Raiders really liked him at their local workout, and they were actually trying to draft him on draft night back in April, but were, unfortunately unable to do so. And it's just the way that they're going to use him. The Raiders aren't really a 4-3 defense. I think they're going to play more of a 5-2, so 5 defensive linemen, 2 linebackers. And the role that they probably would want Laulu to be in the middle is a 3-tech. So think of it as I would actually probably consider him the 4th defensive tackle behind Nesta J or in front of Nesta Jade Silvera personally. When I just based on the scouting reports and some of the things that I've heard, I think that that's going to be more of the use that they have for him. But him and Nesta Jade, they're going to be battling it out there. The final things that I saw was the Raiders, they're going to name it team captains next week. I'll probably be making a video on who the team captains can be. If you're watching this video right now and you want to let me know who you think some of the team captains could be, I would definitely appreciate it. I've talked about it before live on the show. I have about 9 names to keep in mind. Who knows? Maybe Chuggs and I talk about it tonight. Also, was talking about how, he said that Divine Deablo looks like a linebacker. He's moving like a linebacker, and he's starting to act like a linebacker, which the reason why that's important that Antonio Pierce said that is because AP has been saying it, that linebackers run this defense. Spillane's got a green dot. They gave Amari Gainer a green dot in that final preseason game. And AP being a linebacker, it shouldn't really surprise you that they want the linebacker to be the quarterback coach or the quarterback of that defense, getting the plays in, being the leader. You're going to set the tone. So the fact that AP said those things about Divine Deablo, I do think speaks well for Divine entering his 4th year. And AP said it. Divine knows it. It's a big year for him. He's going to be a free agent next offseason. So that's all the good news that we got from AP today. And again, I think the biggest good news is AP does not sound worried at all about Brock Bowers. I love the fact that Darnay Holmes has been, that AP and PG have known him, that the fact that AP's known him since he was 13 gives me a little Jack Jones feel. I think that's really good news. And then the good news around Tre Tucker of, again, being that hype guy that AP continues to talk about. Before I get out of here, again, we're going to be live tonight. North Dakota State, Colorado. Y'all want me to talk about Shedeur all the time? Well, guess what? We're going to be doing stuff like this During the regular season, we're going to go live every Thursday. So next week when it's Chiefs-Ravens, we'll be live here on the Raiders Report. So make sure you subscribe, hanging out with us. And we like to do these watch parties. Put your drinking pants on. We're going to have a little bit of fun. I'm not going to be live tomorrow for Raiders Friday Happy Hour because that's what tonight's show is going to be. So just keep that in mind. If you want to let me know who you got, Colorado or North Dakota State, let me know down below in the comments section. But I will be going live at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So I'll see y'all in just a few hours from now. So, peace. If you want more Raiders content, make sure you click that subscribe button right here. We're pumping out videos more than anybody out there. If you want a video that you're going to enjoy, maybe this is the best one that YouTube selected for you, check out this one. If you want to see the last YouTube video that I did, you can go check this one out right here. More content, but you got to make sure that you're subscribed.